John chapter 3, verses 1 through 2, when you really want it. This is a story in the text that is very familiar to many of us because you learned this in Sunday school or Bible study at some point in time. Perhaps even you may have had this scripture quoted to you as someone was sharing the gospel with you before you accepted Christ. Because the story of Nicodemus is one that is very central to our thought with regards to accepting Christ into our life. Nicodemus sought salvation. He wanted to know what God wanted for him to do in order to receive Christ, his way, to live a better life. Nicodemus watched Christ and he understood that there were many wonderful things that Christ brought into the world. He wanted to understand what he needed to do to accept and to embrace true transformation in his life. As I was talking to our young people this morning, we were talking about worship, and I said that worship should lead to transformation. Transformation or transformative work is important in worship. It's important in our lives. When we read the Bible, we should find ourselves transformed in God's presence. Sometimes others try to measure the transformation in our lives, and often that's impossible. Now, you can see the growth in some people, but in fact, the Lord is the one who truly sees the growth, because it's not just an outward expression, it is also the changing of one's heart, one's mind, and one's soul. It is the refocusing and repositioning of everything that is in us to say that God is the central part of who we are, and that the Holy Spirit is leading, guiding, and transforming us by the word of the Lord. And so, as we think about Nicodemus and what he wanted this transformation in his life. He wanted the voice of God, the voice of Christ in his life. And so, each of us, as we sit here today, we did not arrive in this sanctuary for nothing. You woke up this morning, and not only did you wake up this morning, you especially made sure that you were here on time, even though the time has changed. So technically, you're here an hour early this morning. You didn't get up and put on breeches and shirt to come here for nothing. You came seeking something. And so the question this morning is whether you really want what you came seeking. What happens when we really want something, when we really want to obtain the very thing that we seek? And so if you came into this sanctuary this morning seeking transformation, then the question is, what will you do in order to get it? What will we do when we really want that transformation in our lives? Well, number one, I would say this in 3:1, it says there was a man of the Pharisees. I would tell you that when you really want it, culture will not matter. Your culture will not matter when you really want it. And some of us are tied down because our worldview, our perspective causes us not to be able to see anything else. You know, back in the early 90s, what we found out is there was a resurgence of this movement of black power, black pride, Afrocentric kind of movements, on and so forth. And so I saw a lot of folk coming to church, and they would be wearing dashikis, and ministers were talking about black and proud once again. And the fact is, that's a good thing to understand where you come from. It's good to be proud of your nationality, of your culture, so on and so forth. But never let your culture or your nationality surpass who you are as a Christian. The fact is, before you say you're African, you better say you're Christian. Before you say that you're Irish on the 17th, you better say that you're Christian. See, our Christianness should always supersede whatever else we are. It doesn't matter if you belong to a sorority club or fraternity. It doesn't matter if you're a Mason. It doesn't matter all of the other stuff that you say you belong to. And you know, I'm a proud Buckeye, glad to have graduated from The Ohio State University. But at the end of the day, you've got to be a Christian before you're everything else. And so sometimes we allow our culture to sidetrack us from what we really want, because sometimes you've got to cross the cultural line in order to accept what God is telling you you need. Oftentimes the tradition and the culture, even in the church, will sometimes and many times be against the very culture of the text. When the Bible says different than what we've done for 135 years, when the Bible says different from what we've done for the last 75 years, when the Bible says different than what grandmama said, then we got to go with what the Bible says. Amen. So not only was there a man of the Pharisees, he was named Nicodemus. When you really want it, culture won't matter, but then also your name won't matter. See, Nicodemus, his name meant the victory of the people, or the people's victory. But the fact is, we can't always go according to our name, what our mama and daddy named us and who we are. Sometimes we take good pride in our name, the family that we came from, and what our family has done. I've heard folk come into the church and say, my family has been a member of this church since it was founded. My family gave this money to the church. My family donated this, and so on and so forth. But let me tell you that you can't live on your family name. Some time ago, I told some folk, I said, you know, the fact is, there are no Sam's Family Club in heaven. See, sometimes we get in with the family. Brother Leon and I, just yesterday, we decided we had tried Spotify, the music service. We had tried it individually, and we liked it because you could choose what you wanted and so on and so forth. And so we looked, and they said that it was one price for the individual, but then they said it was another price if you had the family, the premium service. And so Brother Leon and I said, you know what? It'd be cheaper if we got the premium service and split the cost. And so we were able to get the family plan, and now we can listen to the music that we want to on our family plan. But you know what? When it comes to getting to heaven, me and Brother Leon will not be able to have a family plan. I know you belong to Liberty Hill Baptist Church, but when you get over yonder, you can't tell them, say, well, I belong to Liberty Hill, and I know that the pastor has a plan in here for us, and the deacon has said it doesn't work like that. You're going to have to stand on your own feet when you get there. So there's nothing about your name makes you special. You got to realize that it's not about our culture, it's not about our name. But then verse 1 says that he was a Pharisee, he was named Nicodemus, he was a ruler of the Jews. Let me tell you that your status will not matter. See, there's some folk in the church who feel like it's all about status. Says Sister Kika, I am a deacon at the such and such Baptist church. And I've been on the deacon board for 45 years. Nobody cares about your status. Do you know that in the sight of God that all of us are yet but filthy rags? Now none of us have any great status because I am some good reverend doctor, deacon, brother, pastor. They don't care about your status because God has a status above all of our status. So when we realize that Christ in fact is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, then our status no longer matters. Not only should our status not matter with God, but Sister Magwood, we ought to realize that our status shouldn't even be a deciding factor amidst us. See, sometimes we treat each other like I'm inferior and you're superior and you're superior and I'm inferior. And we do this stuff based on, look at who I am. There are folk who come to church because you got a good job downtown at some company. You better than somebody that washes windows. Let me tell you, don't let your status get it twisted. Because the fact is, you can have a great status and a dirty heart. I've been watching the news lately, and I've saw everything from the office of the president down to the attorney general, and it seems like to me that they got great status. I just wish their heart, their mind, and their soul would match their status. And so see, sometimes you might have your status and you might name yourself all the way to hell because you're concerned about who you are. And so it's not about being a ruler, it's not about his name, it's not about his culture. But then look at verse 2. It says, the same came to Jesus by night, said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from God. Let me tell you something, when you really want it, culture doesn't matter, your name doesn't matter, status doesn't matter, and then time won't matter. See, sometimes we think that because it is the last hour and the last moment, we think just because you are the last arrived that you are the weakest link. But the fact is, it doesn't really matter if you got here first or you got here last. What really matters is what you're doing. What matters is what is in your heart. What matters is how effective you are at receiving the transformation that God is giving you. Sometimes we feel like because it is the last hour, because it is the nighttime, that things change in our lives. But let me tell you, time doesn't change you. What should change you is the Spirit of God. Some of us will receive and we will go through the process more quickly than others, and some of us will be on the short bus and we'll be moving a little bit slower. But the fact is, God still blesses all of us no matter what the time is. See, God can bless you when you wake up, and God can bless you when you go to sleep. Doesn't matter if it's the daytime or the nighttime. The fact is, we need to come to Jesus no matter what time it is in our life. You need Jesus at all times, at any time. You need him in season and out of season. You need God in your life no matter what. He offers us the opportunity to be transformed no matter what the hour is in our lives. There's some who feel like, I'm too sad to change, I'm too broke to change, I'm too sick to change. But let me tell you that no matter the time, God is always in the blessing business. He can bless us when we're sick. He can bless us when we're down. He can bless you in the midnight hour. He can bless you at the dawn. He can bless you at the early light. He can bless you in the heat of noon. He is still a blessing. And so we must realize that when we really want it, we can't let culture matter. We can't let our name matter. We can't let status matter. We can't let time matter. Then look at verse 2. It says, we know that thou art a teacher come from God, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest except God be with him. When you really want it, you can't let culture matter. You can't let your name matter. You can't let status matter. You can't let time matter. But then you need to realize that the credits will matter. You know, yesterday I was interested because many of you know my undergraduate degree is in African and African American Studies. And so I was interested to see a new film that just came out called I'm Not Your Negro. It is a documentary about James Baldwin, the writings that he did after Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers died. He began to write, and he wanted to tell how he knew them and how their death and life affected him. And so this new documentary is playing on campus. And so it is the Gateway Theater. It's a non-profit theater, and they normally show these thought-provoking kinds of documentaries and films. I'd gone to movies before, and I've been to films and probably gone to the theater more than I can name. Yesterday I was reminded of the experience that I've had throughout my life to sometimes Brother LaRon Marshall go to what I think of as a real theater to see a real film. Because you know, you can go to these other kinds of places. Broken Somebody's is out right now. You can go see the Batman, whoever, all of these different shows. When you go to the theater and you sit down in a regular theater, usually what happens at the end is when the movie is over, people jump up. They get their coats. They sometimes leave their popcorn that they should take to the trash can. They leave their empty slushy cups that they should take to the trash can.